Should I meditate, eyes open or closed? Either technique you choose, you will still be able to access the deepest realizations of meditation. The ultimate goal of meditation is to realize a way of being which is compatible with the entirety of our lives. So that's going to include moments of duration where our eyes are open and moments of duration where our eyes are closed, like when we're sleeping. So you don't have to pick one or the other. You can change it up as you practice, but there are some considerations which might make some techniques more appropriate sometimes than others, depending on how we're doing or how we feel that day. One of the main obstacles to becoming present and aware, which is what we're trying to establish in meditation, is getting drawn into coarse or overt distractions. So distractions is going to be one consideration. The other obstacle we're trying to overcome is becoming diffused or kind of blank-minded, voided, not noticing anything. We want to be present and aware, not tuning out. So diffusion is our other consideration. Conduciveness is also our third consideration today, whether the technique of our eyes, how we're placing them, helps us realize our nature of being or something about our experience. Potentially some positions of our eyes are more in line with getting us to turn inward or relax or be in a way that will notice some sort of insight than other positions. And then the fourth sort of consideration we could have about the technique of our eyes would be compatibility with taking meditation off the cushion or out of sitting into the rest of our lives. Because seated meditation is just a training room or something we want to be practicing and embodying our entire lifetime. So let's examine eyes closed. Distractions, well, it's going to be a lot easier not to get pulled into the external world if our eyes are closed. So it's really good for minimizing distractions. Diffusion, it's a bit riskier here because sometimes if we close our eyes, that might lull us into a bit of doziness. We might drift off, so not so good for the diffusion. Conduciveness, it's pretty good because closing up our eyes takes us away from that looking out, which we're always doing, and helps us turn inward, which is something that we want to have whilst we're meditating. Looking inward brings us closer to insight and realization, so that's definitely a good thing. Compatibility is probably one of the predominant drawbacks of practicing with our eyes closed all the time. Most of our life where we're going to want to be transitioning the skills we're learning in meditation into our daily life will be when our eyes are open. And if we rely too much on eyes closed, that's going to make that transition a hurdle. Easier to find the peace, which is good to set up the practice with our eyes closed. But after that, we will want to definitely, maybe mix it up, bring in moments of practice with eyes open, because we want to be able to practice when we're engaged in the world with our eyes open. Before we go to eyes open, there is a sort of in-between states. You can do, kind of rested eyelids, gazing downward, in between open and close. And you can also do the same sort of tilted upwards. And those positions are going to have their own benefits too. Distractions are starting to go up in these half positions because now the visual field is there. But diffusion is getting minimized now because our eyes are open. It's a lot harder to get dozy or daze off when our eyes are some degree open. So now we're going about halfway there, where we're still finding a little bit of distance from all the distractions out there, but maybe we're not totally open, so that we'll get very easily dragged into the world out there. We're finding some in between on the distraction, the diffusion. We're halfway, less things to catch our attention, but also a little bit more awakeness because our eyes are open. Yeah, conducive. Yeah, it's there's a sense when our eyes are in these different kind of gazing positions that we're looking more inward. We're definitely looking in a different way than our usual subject-object distancing from the world. So that's kind of interesting. Sometimes a slight gaze down as well, that will slow down our thoughts a bit, and a gaze up can sharpen our sense of presence too. So in those respects, they can be conducive to finding a sort of a state of presence or awareness. Perhaps the least compatible, because it's going to be challenging to go through your life like this, talking to people all the time. I'm sure there's some meditators out there who do it, but it feels more like a specific focus and realization in meditation than something that we can directly bridge. It's not going to help with our sleep meditation and not going to bridge with our waking meditation. Which brings us to open-eyed meditation. Obviously, we've got the maximum opportunity for distractions now. We'll have to find somewhere sort of removed, probably a lot of us will, from the distracting world or people coming in and taking us away from our meditation. Though, again, like I've hinted, the ultimate practice would be able to meditate seamlessly with all these distractions working. That is possible, but that's obviously more going to be suited for advanced practitioners to some regard, because for most people that'll be very distracting. Diffusion is unlikely to happen by you dozing off. You might just start daydreaming about something you see though, so it could go either way, I suppose, but you'll at least probably be, you'll be definitely aware, or you'll definitely be awake. Conduciveness is a little bit harder. We're normally very conditioned into seeing the external world as separate from us. And what we realize when we meditate effectively is that the outside world is just also a part of our experience. It's a part of us too. So that's harder to do there. But it is ultimately compatible, because that's where so much of our practice is going to take place. We want to be able to recognize or realize the deepest insights of meditation during our waking life. That's where most of our life occurs. So that's really where we want the realizations of meditation to manifest, or to be evident, to be relevant. We want our peacefulness and equanimity to be able to manifest when our eyes are open, rather than just when we're sitting. Eyes open technique, if we want to soften that sense of separation from the world, is we can, rather than focusing on singular objects, try using a wider gaze, be aware of our full visual field, in a sense which we're getting that bit of a difference, like with the tilting of our eyes up and down. We use our vision in a way where it's very wide, which is not something we do, and that can help us turn inward and be conducive in that sense. So those are some of the considerations for whatever you're going to use. Probably, generally speaking, if you're starting out, easy to go with eyes closed so you can get some real discernment from distraction and presence and awareness. The further along in your practice you get, the more you want to start making your practice compatible or more alike, assimilate more and more with your waking experiences. You want to start bringing in movement meditation, so that whatever you're realizing or accessing, when you try to cultivate meditational realization or meditative realization, it's something that you can do, when you're being, which is where you want to have all these realizations. I mix it up. I might start with my eyes closed, transition to eyes open. When I'm going to sleep, I'll meditate eyes closed. I probably like meditation eyes open more, but it's taken me a while to get to feeling more confident there. Hopefully something here is beneficial for you. Best wishes on your practice. Congratulations on taking up this tremendously beneficial practice for cultivating more peace in your life, which is something we should really value, and something that will make us more skillful in creating peace and conditions for other people to be more peaceful, which is the reason why we're here. Everything we do is for the changes in consciousness. Every circumstance that the world takes in, every different way it can look. It only matters because of how it will affect sentient or conscious beings. So that's the top priority, why we do all these things. And this is a really good practice for realizing great quality of consciousness regardless of circumstances. Fantastic tool to learn. You're amazing. Thank you so much.
If Sonam Hani has helped you, please consider supporting for the benefit of others. Establishing a base engagement is the biggest hurdle for new ideas.